I'll mute my mic. All right, so this meeting is now in session. I am seeking approval of tonight's agenda. I am seeking a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda. All right, motion by President Vutek and second by Representative Terry. Any discussion on the agenda for tonight? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, moving on. We're going to move on to the approval of minutes from the September 2nd, 2020 Parliament meeting. I'm seeking a motion for the approval of the minutes from September 2nd, 2020. Motion by Representative Terry, second by President Vutek. Any discussion on that item? President Vutek, are you raising your hand for discussion on that item? All right, I just wanted to clarify. All right, with no discussion, I am seeking a vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect, thank you. All right, with that, we're going to move on to tonight's officers' announcements, and I'm going to lead with President Taylor Vutek.
Open forum.
But no one if no one signs up, I don't have to announce it if I do not have the sheet or if I did not receive an email, just to clarify.
Okay.
So I'm going to move to the officers' announcements with President Taylor Vutek.
I do have one announcement that I wanted to make, that being we have decided, in light of trying a few things out, that instead of having new Parliament members have to take out a petition, we are actually going to let new Parliament members join Parliament by either being interviewed by someone on the e-council and then having that e-council member give them their recommendation to join, or they can get a letter of recommendation, something short, from a faculty member stating why they would be a good fit to join student parliament. Just because we tried virtual petitions and it just wasn't really working, and especially for freshmen and transfer students who don't know anyone and don't have the opportunity to meet people in person to support them, we figured this would be an easier way during these times. So that's how Parliament will be operating for 2020 and 2021. That's all.
Perfect. Thank you, President Vutek. We're going to move on to Vice President Monkane.
Good afternoon, good evening. So basically the only thing I got to say right here and shit is I'm still in contact with the Dean of Students trying to see if we can do that class election thing. I'm pretty sure I still remember, but if I don't, basically what you got to do is get a list of students within credit ranges, and that's kind of difficult for us to do at the moment. So once we get that done, we should be able to move forward with class elections. I reckon that's the only thing I really got at the moment right now.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Vice President Kane. We're going to move on to Secretary Marin Terry.
She's asking that you skip her and move on to me for a moment because her Wi-Fi is acting up.
So we're going to move to Treasurer Patrick Gibb with her technical issues.
All right. I don't have anything too big to announce, except that we are working on getting everything together for the President Treasurer meeting, and we have a date set, which is next Wednesday. So we should have everything all set for clubs to start getting their funding and all their withdrawals and everything together soon. And the general fund is currently at $159,746.14. And we're kind of waiting to see how the drop in enrollment affects the general fund still. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Treasurer Gibb. Secretary Terry, are you still there?
She said Diana has to let her in.
She here? There she is. So we're gonna move to Secretary Bryn Terry with her announcements.
So I really don't have anything much. We are trying to figure out an alternative to Sorges because it obviously was canceled. We would like to have a way to recognize students who have thrown events and things like that for this coming spring. So we're hoping on working on something virtual or a wider open outdoor venue if anybody has any ideas for that. And I'm still working on getting a couple of committee members for SOC. So yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you, Secretary Terry. So that leads to me. Hello, everyone. Before I do make an announcements, I just want to say there are 3 retroactive leaves for tonight from Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hanley, and Representative McAdams, but President Vutek will be speaking about that matter later. For the current moment, I would like to talk about over the weekend, President Vutek and I, we attended a student government webinar, I would call it, with different student governments throughout the country, representing different colleges, which was really cool because we went to different workshops, so learned a lot. So that was really awesome that we did that on Saturday. Also, I am working right now. Last semester, we were working on a RIC 100 resolution. It was Representative Damana, Representative Meservey, President Percy, and Deputy Speaker Duff. And as of now, I'm the only, Representative Meservey and I are the only ones still here who are a part of that. So I want to get that ball rolling again because I've heard some negative feedback about orientation and that was handled over the summer, and I understand it was virtual. I want to give leeway with that, but students felt like they were not informed very well, and also that it was very lackluster, they said, to describe it best. So I definitely want to look into that and get some more opinions. I know a few incoming freshmen personally, and they all said the same exact thing, so I want to look into that. And I've also been trying to recruit more people for Parliament and SEG in general. So try to get the word out there, spread the, spread us around campus, just let us know, let them know. And yeah, that's really it. I want to see this grow. But with that being said, we're going to move to tonight's reports, and we're going to move to the RIC Council report of September 11, 2020 with President Vutek.
Nova, quiet. I'm sorry, my dog just started barking. So I wanted to talk about the RIC Council meeting, which I attended. Largely what was discussed was layoffs and the closing of Henry Barnard. The RIC Council was, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. The RIC Council felt as if not proper notice was given to those in Henry Barnard, and they also felt as if they too were worried about the upcoming program evaluations that are happening and whether or not they would still have jobs. I will talk more about the layoffs and Henry Barnard as a whole later, but that was just what the RIC Council talked about. It was a long meeting. It lasted 3 hours. So yeah, but that was the basis of what was discussed.
Perfect. Thank you, President Vutek, for that. And from there, we are going to move on to tonight's new business. And we're going to move to President Vutek about the layoffs in Henry Barnard School closing discussion.
Yeah, so going more into this, I wanted to start off with Henry Barnard. So I want everyone to understand a few things about Henry Barnard. Every single year, Henry Barnard loses around $1.2 million. This year, it was actually $1.6 million, I believe. And the college subsidizes that. So over the last few years, the college has subsidized $7 million of money to the Henry Barnard School. And that is 100% money that comes from our tuition and from things like that. So it comes from our tuition and they subsidize this. And the purpose of Henry Barnard was originally to be a laboratory school. So it's designed to be a lab school where our student teachers can go in and learn. However, in the past, I would say 5 or 6 years, many students haven't been placed there because they don't meet the needs of what Henry Barnard has to offer. Many students are asking to be placed in schools where students are English as a second language or students have disabilities, and Henry Barnard does not have that type of diversity in their charter school. So it's not fitting needs for placement anymore, and it's just consistently losing money. Every student that goes to Henry Barnard School costs the college $8,000, and that money is coming right out of our tuition. And as a student, I specifically don't want to see money going there, especially if it's not serving RIC students anymore. It might be serving the greater community because some of these students have a place to go to school, but that's not really serving RIC and RIC students. And I don't think that our tuition should be used that way. Some people might disagree. However, President Sanchez specifically said that he could no longer, in good faith, see Henry Barnard operate when it costs students this much money and it's not being made up for in valuable placements for our student teachers. As far as the layoffs go, it's sort of a similar story. Currently, Rhode Island College is facing a large budget deficit right now. We don't even have our 2020-2021 budget as of yet. We asked for, I think it was a 15% increase in our budget from last year. And we've been told that we should expect to actually get a 10% decrease in our budget. So we're currently operating in a place where we are at least $10 million in deficit. And in order to make up for that, one of the reasons we closed Henry Barnard, but that doesn't close the gap. There's structural deficits in the college, and the only way to avoid laying off employees and doing things like freezing overtime and freezing hiring would be to raise tuition, and Rhode Island College does not wish to do that. I do know there's been a petition going around regarding stopping layoffs. While I think this sentiment is fantastic, I don't think students realize that these layoffs aren't because we want to save money. These layoffs are because we are millions of dollars over our budget, and we need to fix that structurally. To any students that signed this petition, I will ask, would you prefer we stop layoffs and raise tuition by thousands of dollars, or would you prefer that we lay off 35 staff and keep tuition where it is? Because those are really our only two options at the moment. As I said, we are millions of dollars over our budget operating as we are currently, so we needed to make some pretty major structural changes to what was going on. At this point, I would like to open it up for discussion and see how some of our other students feel about the issue. I have no problem if Parliament so feels this way to go to President Sanchez and make it known that this is how students feel. However, I think students who are signing this petition are doing so without really realizing the consequences that this would cause on students. Additionally, the layoffs are administrative assistants. They're not going to be your professors. They are the people that are working the front desks in departments. And those jobs are just, especially now in our virtual times, not really necessary. But I would like to open it up for discussion and hear what you guys have to say.
All right. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns for President Vutek? Open for discussion.
Yeah, I got one right there. So.
Yes, Vice President.
Yeah. Yeah. So did they say how that this reality that came to fruition? How we became millions of dollars in debt when we have the staff with no it's been?
Yeah, so basically, structurally within the college, it has consistently for years and years and years cost more money than what we charge students. So one of the reasons that we are in such a deficit is because we have kept tuition low, we have kept fees low. Additionally, Rhode Island College is set up to operate as if we have more students than we actually have. So with declining enrollment, there's just a lot of jobs and things like dormitories and buildings that we're paying for, dormitories and building bonds that now have to be spread more amongst the existing students because we've had a decline in enrollment. And the decline in enrollment also has left us open to, there's a lot of jobs where 3 people are doing one job that one person realistically could be doing because of the amount of students we have. So unfortunately, these deficits are structural. It's not anything that the college did by accident. I will say part of the reason for this deficit is that state funding for all of the colleges is extremely low. So Rhode Island as a state is supposed to yearly give a certain amount of money to its state colleges. We give one of the lowest amounts of money to colleges, like percent-wise, out of the whole country. We're like 46th on educational spending. So 45 of the 50 states put more money, percent-wise, towards their public higher education than Rhode Island does. And that's something that is a structural deficit within the state itself. And then that has obviously continued and trickled down into the way that Rhode Island College operates.
All right, so basically the reason why we're running a deficit is because it's lack of funding, and we have more people working than would be needed to be working for the amount of students we have at the moment, even though we're supposed to be running as if that we have more students. That's why we have more faculty members and administrative assistants and things like that.
Yeah, so to give you an example, obviously this year we have only about 350 students in dorms when we can house, I want to say, over 1,000. I know the number that even the state gave us with reduced capacity was higher than the amount of students that we actually got. So we had to spend money on resources for housing, and then we had less students than we were expecting. On a positive note, enrollment this year right now is only down about 6%. This time last year, it was down 12%. So we're not doing terrible in terms of enrollment, but it's something that obviously is still hurting us. And then systematically, the college operates right now as if we have more students than we really do, which leaves extra jobs and people that just aren't needed.
So hypothetically, that petition that's been being signed by multiple students, I've heard it's got like 700 signatures or something on there, thereabouts. that could also be a referendum on Rhode Island State, the state of Rhode Island's ability to fund their higher education.
Absolutely. So that's why not too long ago, we actually sent out a virtual, not a petition, a virtual letter to Rhode Island state legislators asking them to give the college more money because we wanted to prevent things like layoffs and like the closing of Henry Barnard. Unfortunately, they did not give us enough money to really prevent these things. It's a harsh reality, but when the college is $10 million in debt, something has to be done about it. And they are committed to not raising our tuition. So they went with the option of closing the school and laying off staff that they felt weren't 100% necessary to college operations.
And these layoffs will offset, or what, like halfway offset or 1/4 of the way offset the deficit that we're running over year?
Yeah, they're largely going to offset the deficit. In addition, another big thing that is offsetting our deficit is we have had a freeze on administrative raises for the past 2 years. There's a freeze on overtime. The school is constantly working on recruitment, and there's a few different avenues that we can go to for grants and state funding that we are trying our hardest to get. It does come down to mostly the state funding, and President Sanchez has constantly been in communication with the state and trying to show that Rhode Island College is an asset to the state.
So I was wondering real quick, so with the layoffs and all that, it's not like going to be no severance package. It's going to be just like how everybody else during the coronavirus got hit, just basically like your bond type shit, like this, how those layoffs are going.
To my knowledge,
And the
yeah.
second question, and the second part of that question, I appreciate your answer. Second part of that question would be, so basically 35 assistants and Henry Barnard and a couple of grants that we're going to get, et cetera, will equal to that $10 million hole for this year.
It'll make a very big difference. It's not going to completely close the gap. We actually still do have some tough decisions to make regarding what we're going to do financially. And I don't know all of the details of that, unfortunately. But I know that right now, the measures that we are taking are closing a significant gap in our deficit.
So when you say significant, could you give me like a figure, if that would be possible? I know you're saying you're not all the way into the weeds with this shit right here, and I do apologize for trying to press you on this, but is there like a figure like half, 3/4, 1/8, like a rough estimate, ballpark estimate of how much we're actually saving with these measures that we're undertaking?
I can honestly tell you I was not told a percentage number, and I don't want to give you false information. I would assume that when they say significant, they mean over 1/3.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand. I know you're not trying to get false information, but I was trying to get your opinion on the matter.
My opinion would be that it is over 1/3 of the gap. So I would say close to $3 million.
They didn't elaborate further on how they're going to close the rest of it, the other half.
No, they did say that they would be making some more tough decisions. And as I learn more, I will let Parliament know. Unfortunately, I do think that there's going to be some program evaluations that happen. So we might have some majors or some extra curricular classes like electives get pulled. That's sort of where the discussion was headed. because we did talk about there would be program evaluations. So I feel personally that that is something that might happen. And it comes down to what the state decides on our budget. So unfortunately, the state decided not to give us our full year budget until after the election in November. So while they are supposed to give it to us before we start the school year, like in July, they pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off and told us we would not get our budget until after the election. So we're also operating without really knowing for sure how much money we're going to get. So we're projecting that we're about $10 million in a deficit, but we don't know that for sure. It's something that unfortunately we won't know until after November. So right now it's a really big guessing game of money and what is going on. As I said, if you have any concerns, I would love to bring them to President Sanchez. But there's only so much that can be done when we're facing such a large deficit and facing the unknown of where we are in terms of the budget. I would like to stop for just a moment and say that it appears that someone muted Monk, and I don't know how they did that. He texted me and said he got muted, so I don't know if he can be unmuted or how we can manage that.
Oh, there he is. He's good now.
Okay.
No, it's just
Appreciate it, y'all.
I don't think you can mute somebody else.
on the host can.
Diana.
I was just doing it for background noise. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's okay.
My fault.
Any other discussion on this item though?
Yeah, so I was actually finna also inquire. So there's no way we can give like a severance package to these folks and shit like that. Because again, this is like a really fucking tumultuous time, and I understand they're talking about raising our tuition, but maybe they can raise our tuition a little bit so these people aren't just out in a fucking world by themselves during coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it's a little bit too harsh than what the college is doing. I understand, like, you know, for the future you'll save a little money, but for right now, at least give them a little fucking money. If that could be a concept you're talking about, we're gonna go relay. If that could be a concept you could relay, because it is, again, once more to reiterate, kind of fucked up for lack of good addiction. You're doing this especially at this moment in a time where we're all going through it. You know what I'm saying?
I do know that they are at least getting continuing health coverage. As far as actual financials in terms of, you know, if they're getting anything for severance, that's something that if we all feel like that's something we want to ask for, I will communicate that to President Sanchez. I would, however, like to perhaps survey other students and see what their thoughts are in terms of, if we do something like this, how would you feel if tuition got raised to do this? You know what I mean? So maybe that's something you and I can work on this week or this weekend. We can work on a survey for students regarding their thoughts on layoffs and potential tuition increases to like rectify said situation or assist in said situation.
I'd like to just pose one more question. When do you think these layoffs are fixing to occur?
My understanding is that it is on September 18th.
Yeah,
So
you have
Friday.
4 days, 3 days.
My understanding is that it's Friday.
We don't really have a whole lot of time in this matter, do we?
No, it was something that was brought out like really quickly to our knowledge. I was not aware of it until I went to college council last Friday, and it was, I believe, told to staff on the 31st of August. So they give 15-day advance notice of its intent to implement employee layoffs on September 3rd. So the college actually can't communicate with impacted employees until September 18th. My understanding is, though, that is when they will have layoffs. However, the Office of Human Resources is working closely with all of these people, and the Department of Labor and Training has been informed, so they know to assist employees and help them with unemployment insurance, as well as the Employees Assistance Program, which is available for support for employees and their families. And the Office of Human Resources at RIC is trying to provide continued health coverage for these impacted employees. Like I said, unfortunately, a lot of it's uncertain. And it could very well be the fact that this decision is something that we cannot reverse, no matter how much we voice that we want it to not happen.
Well, I'm not talking about reverse. I understand that we're kind of like too far in right there, but I was trying to voice an opinion of mitigating the damage. And I do appreciate you informing me more upon the programs and the assistance that these people will or can take in. But I was also wondering, would it be more advantageous to bring these concerns to them earlier instead of trying to get quota students within 2 days? And you know me, I'm all about fucking the voice of the students and all, but
yeah,
it seems as though we do have a pretty good portion that wants to assist in any which way for the affected 35 people. So I was wondering if that could be more of an avenue we traverse instead of.
I mean, I can for certain give President Sanchez the data of the people that are supporting this petition that's going around. I just don't want that petition to make a change if those people aren't aware of the full consequences of those actions and aren't aware of the resources that are already going to certain employees. But I can make him aware, and I don't have a problem doing that if that's how people feel in this
Yeah,
room.
and we can also make the students aware of the whole, or at least a more holistic picture of what is occurring.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's quite unfortunate that the college has decided to not really let students know the reasoning behind these layoffs and not let students know about the specific next steps that RIC is taking to try and help these employees out.
Then we should definitely make a ruckus because we are the voice of the students.
Yeah, I agree. And it's something that I've talked to President Sanchez multiple times about the fact that students, for whatever reason, are always the last to know about all of these changes, when in reality, we should be one of the first to know because we make up the college.
Did he ever have a response to that? I'm not trying to get off in our private conversations or nothing like that. It's okay if you don't want to answer that question as well.
It's something that he has discussed with me at length in terms of the fact that there are certain decisions that he feels should be left to administration, and then other decisions that he feels that students should be a part of. But it's a continuing battle that I wage with him over, we make up the college, why aren't we a part of these discussions?
I appreciate it. Though.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion on this item? Any other discussion on this item? All right, with no more discussion on this item, we are going to move on to our next piece of new business tonight, and that is the SCG and org gift bag idea with President Vutak.
Okay, so this is something a little bit more fun and less tense. SCG has decided that in lieu of Campus Activities Day, which is not happening, we would like to create gift bags where all of the student organizations who wish to participate can send us merchandise that we'll then put into a gift bag and allow students to come pick up like on the patio of the student union. So right now what we have landed on is, let me look at my notes. Okay, so we have landed on, we would like clubs to give us 250 of whatever merchandise they choose to put in this bag. So that could be koozies, keychains, t-shirts. You could even do raffle tickets. If, say, your club doesn't want to ask for 250 stickers and they'd rather just get raffle tickets and then raffle off a larger item, that can be done as well. But the number we're hitting is 250. We need all of these goodies to create gift bags by the 16th of October. And then we will be handing them out on Monday, the 26th of October, as well as Thursday, the 29th of October. SCG has landed on the idea that we are obviously giving out the bags. So what we are going to do is the bags are going to have our logo on it. They're actually going to be grocery bags. So like small, not super small, but not the giant grocery bags, but they're going to be like medium-sized grocery bags. And we're also going to give out travel mugs with our logo on them. So I just wanted to get that out there so you guys can let your respective clubs know that information. Some ideas that we also had for other clubs were different types of mugs, lighters, stress balls, masks, Purell with your logo on it, straws with your, like reusable straws with your club name on it, raffle tickets for a large item that your club can give away, things like that. So I just wanted to get that information out there. And if anyone has a serious aversion to us giving out travel mugs and grocery bags, please let it be known now.
You might find quite, what are they talking about? Plastic bag?
No, like the reusable cloth grocery bags.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Why can't we give them the ones that say thank you on it like 4 times?
We felt that we wanted, one, our logo on it, 2, plastic is obviously a huge not reusable resource, so we wanted to give out something that was like reusable for students.
I messaged that. Cool.
Oh yeah. If we're giving out a logo on the travel mug, wouldn't it be more prudent to just put the college logo on the goodie bag since we're at the college?
That's an idea. The only reason that I would be against that is because the college isn't the one organizing it. So I don't want it to seem like it's a college thing that was organized and put together. I want it to seem like it's something that we did for the orgs, because that's what it does come down to. Is it's something that we're providing for the orgs. It's a service we're trying to do to help them get their name out there.
Any other discussion on this item? Any other discussion on this item? All right, with that, we are going to move on to our last piece of new business for tonight, and that is ideas on how SCG and orgs can hold virtual events to promote themselves and Rick with President Vutek again.
Yay, it's me. It's the Taylor Show tonight. So I just wanted to get it out there that we should be helping organizations figure out ideas for virtual events to promote themselves and Rick. And SCG should look at doing a large virtual event this year. I know I've heard from different people that perhaps we could get a comedian or a concert and have that virtually happen. And doing that. Yeah, so I didn't know if anyone had any ideas as for what they wanted SCG to do as far as putting on a virtual event. So I'm going to open that up for discussion, and we should also perhaps discuss some ideas for other organizations and how we can support organizations with their virtual events.
Any discussion on this item? Is there any discussion on this item?
I don't have too
we
many.
talking about. Go ahead.
You can go first, Kane. Sorry.
Nah, by all means, I was the second one to talk the most tonight and shit. So I would love to hear your point of view.
All right, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, I don't have that many great ideas for events, but I was saying earlier in the SCG office that I work next door to this Wiccan store called the Veiled Crow, and they do online or like digital / virtual or like over the phone and like Zoom and stuff. They do it different ways, but they do non-contact like readings for people. And I thought that that could be an interesting thing for an event, because I know that they do like a fortune teller event a lot, but people could get like card readings and like they do different stuff like that. I don't know if there was anybody else who had any other ideas.
Yeah, I was actually backing on that because I was thinking like, hold on real quick.
Any other discussion on this item? Any other
Yeah, I
discussion?
was just waiting for these people. I was just waiting for these ambulances to go by.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
The
So what I
floor
was
is
about to
yours.
say, I do apologize. So what I was switching to say was, I'm right there with you, Pat, right there, because I was about to say something like a podcast where we can like have like conversations upon dumb shit or something like that, kind of like how they do at the at WXIN with the radio stations, or from my lack of greater knowledge from the radio stations and things like that. So I think that'd be a good idea. I'm also talking about helping clubs and all that. Does Rick have is Zoom Rick? Let me try to get my words correct. I do apologize. Did Rick purchase Zoom? Because I know I think you got to buy it or something like that to use it often.
Yeah, Rick has a Zoom license, so anyone with a student email can host a Zoom meeting with, I believe, up to 300 attendees.
Oh, so that I don't know how well promoted that is. I haven't heard nothing about it like that. So we could possibly try to get that out there, because if you can have 300 people on it, a lot of the clubs don't have 300 people, so I'm pretty sure they can have whole meetings and games and things like that. Like my family had a little game night on that joint. So I'm pretty sure you can do a couple of things on Zoom as long as we know that it's free. It's for students.
Thank you for that, Vice President Kane. Any other discussion on this item? Any other discussion on this item? All right, with no more discussion on
I do apologize. Yeah, I got one more question. Is Zoom the only affiliation, like webcam affiliation we got? Like, if you know what I'm trying to inquire, Taylor, I would reckon.
I'm
could you-
pretty sure Zoom's. Sorry, Taylor.
No, go for it.
I'm pretty sure Zoom's the only one that we have. We have like Blackboard Meet, but that's just for professors, and I don't really think anybody's gonna be like, you know what we should do? We should all go on Blackboard, collaborate, and have a rager tonight.
Get that collab.
Yeah, we only have Zoom.
Cool.
All right. Thank you for that, Vice President Kane. With that, we are going to move on to updates and remarks, and we're going to move to the staff update with Arthur Petrie.
Good evening. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical problems. On behalf of the Professional Staff Association, we just want to thank everyone. The students, the people on campus working have been amazing, very impressive with following the rules, social distancing. This is serious, and we're glad that people are taking it serious, because it's not for me, it's not for you, it's for us. Switching over to my dining hat. I don't know who knows this, but we did launch the cafe.
Arthur, we lost you.
We did launch the cafe. Anchor mobile app.
Arthur, we can't really hear you. Do you maybe want to send it in the chat?
Where did you lose me at?
It keeps cutting off at we did launch the cafe.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we launched the dining mobile app, or Anchor app, this last week. It seems to be going well. We have additional information on our website. And again, I'm sorry with these technical problems, so I'll just be quiet at this point.
Well, thank you, Arthur, and no need to apologize. We all experience technical difficulties with this at some point. I know Dr. Tamika Wardlow Williams was here, but she's no longer with us in this meeting. So with that, we are going to move to appointments, resignations, and vacancies with President Vutek.
So I do have, unfortunately, quite a bit tonight. I ask that these resignations be accepted with unanimous consent. We have for resignations, Julia McAdams from Parliament and all committees due to scheduling conflicts. Jonathan Goncalves from Parliament and all committees due to scheduling conflicts. Isaiah Hopper from Parliament and all committees due to scheduling conflicts. Amy Luzon from Parliament and all committees as she is transferred to another college. And Jacob Ottaviani from Parliament and all committees due to scheduling conflicts. Do we have to stop there and accept those?
So I have to ask if anyone questions your unanimous consent. So does anyone question President Vutek's unanimous consent for these leaves? All right. With that, so those vacancies, resignations, and appointments will be accepted unanimously.
Oh, I have more appointments. I apologize.
Oh, right ahead.
Yes. For appointments, we do have, I also ask that these be accepted unanimously. We have Thomas Burra to a non-parliament seat on the Finance Commission. We have Kennedy Heel for a non-student parliament seat on the Student Organizations Committee. And we have Caitlin Gomez for a non-student parliament seat on the Student Organizations Committee.
That's going to be Gomes.
Gomes, thank you. And that's all I have for appointments.
All right. With that, does anyone question President Vutek's unanimous consent for these appointments? All right. With that being said, that was it, President Vutek, just to
Yes.
clarify. All right. With that, we're going to move on to the issues of Parliament. Would anyone like to speak or anyone have any discussion? Any discussion? All right. With that, we are going to move to the adjournment of tonight's meeting. I am seeking a motion for tonight's meeting to be adjourned. Motion by President Vutek.
Seconded.
All right, second by Secretary Terry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, with that, all right, so abstained by Vice President Kane. With that being said, tonight's meeting is now adjourned. Everyone have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, and I will see everyone in 2 weeks.
Have a nice night, everyone.
Aye.
Hey,
Thank
stay
you.
up, everybody.